only ruins are left today. What you see are the eerie remains of a once thriving mining town. People from all over came here for work and to search the mountains for veins of silver. But their prosperity was doomed to end, and their homes were built to be swallowed. Das hier unten war das Erdgeschoss. Das ist einfach meine Eingangstür. Das sind jetzt vielleicht noch 30, 40 Zentimeter. In June 2021, we traveled to Sardinia, Italy's second largest island, to explore locations off the beaten track. Überall exotische Pflanzen hier. This is me, Till. Together with my two friends Sasha and Marco, we set out to the Forlorn Mountains in the south of Sardinia to take a ghostly glimpse into the past. This ghost town, only known to the locals as a dark secret. For the past 100 years, this has been a no man's land.
Ja, der hat erzählt, dass da auch Leute ermordet wurden da drin. Dann haben die sozusagen dann draußen Feuer gemacht und dann haben die halt die Leute, die in den Stürmen waren, getötet, um halt selber an Arbeit zu kommen.
On a hot day, we drove down all the way from the island's northern coastline to explore the remains and research the story. This is where the adventure starts.
Sono Filippo Magnini. Chi fa sport come me sa che acqua oliveto reintegra calcio, potassio e magnesio. Così anche chi sa forma sportiva e salva.
Digga, vorne.
Okay, fahr rechts. Das müsste der Weg sein. Ja.
Ich hoffe für uns, dass wir hier wieder rauskommen. Today's journey starts in the hinterland of Sardinia. The place we want to explore this time has been abandoned so long that no road to it exists anymore. And the only possible way left is not suited for our rental. Wir müssen richtig mit dem Auspuff aufpassen.
Ist der so niedrig?
Der ist total frei. Kennst du den Unterschied zwischen einem Panzer und einem Mietwagen?
Was ist der Unterschied?
Mit dem Mietwagen kommst du überall hin.
Ich glaube, wir fahren jetzt in dem ausgetrockneten Flussbett.
Ist das ein Hausschwein? Ja, ne? This is a dead end. We can't get to our destination from here. Aber du kannst vergessen, dass wir da langkommen. Ne?
Da müssen wir ein ganzes Stück laufen.
Yeah, I know. Next time we will get ourselves a four-wheel drive. But for now, we have to leave our Fiat Panda by the road.
Na, dann zusammenpacken und Abmarsch.
The place we're looking for is an old rambling mining town that's supposed to be scattered all over these mountains. From the second half of the 19th century, people were digging in these ranges. They were looking for lead, but also silver. About 10 mining sites made up the so-called Silver Trail. Right now, we are heading to the biggest one of them. But after 100 years of being abandoned, we don't know what's left. Schweineheiß. Hier sind auch so terrassenförmige Mauern.
Na, wahrscheinlich wurden viele Gebäude einfach schon abgerissen oder sind zusammengefallen. Ja?
Wir haben ja vorher schon gelesen, dass die Villa das schönste Gebäude sein soll. Aber eben von innen. Vielleicht ist sogar das Schönste von außen.
Da sind wir genau zur richtigen Zeit hier auf Sardinien, wenn alles anfängt zu blühen.
Krass.
Wollen wir mal mit der Drohne ein bisschen von oben schauen, ob wir einen Spot finden, wo wir irgendwie das Lager aufbauen können?
Surrounded by the undulating hilly mountain ranges of southern Sardinia, we have finally reached our destination. But to get here, it took us longer than expected. The sun will be setting soon, so we plan to spend the night between these ruins to start the proper exploration at first light. But something is off here, and maybe you already noticed. These valleys are covered with gravel and slag. And for sure, it wasn't always like that. This looks like a massive avalanche of rocks broke through. And this must have happened quite recently. In fact, there could have been landslides that partly swallowed the ghost town. Some of these houses definitely look like they were destroyed by a mass of rock debris. However, I think we found ourselves a nice spot for tonight. Let's get there. Riesige Agave. Gut 3 Meter groß da oben. Ich finde immer, die fühlen sich an wie, oder sehen auch so ein bisschen aus wie so eine Krokodilzunge. Überall exotische Pflanzen hier. Habe ich noch nie gesehen. Baum mit riesigen Bohnen dran. Direkt dahinter diese lilanen Blüten. Hier vorne steht ein riesiger Feigenbaum, wächst also aus dem Mauerwerk raus.
Bitte?
Mhm.
Und was ist es?
Mandarine.
Also was jetzt?
Sind Mandarinen.
Aber halt noch lange
Kleine
nicht
Orangen.
reif. Here we are. That's the old hospital of the mining town. Or rather, what's left of it. It is located on a small hill, and the courtyard offers protection from the hot morning sun. And also, it's a visual cover, just in case of hunters or rangers who might stroll around the valleys at night. Plus, we're far enough away from the ruin, so we shouldn't get hit by any potential debris. We're safe tonight.
Wir sind gerade erst angekommen und haben jetzt schon jede Menge Ameisen hier bei uns im Lager. Aber ich glaube, wir haben unser Lager auch direkt auf einer Ameisenstraße gebaut.
Ja, ich glaube auch.
Camping by the ruins, with a bonfire to keep us warm and a tasty dinner to keep us fed. Tomorrow we set out to learn the story of this place, but tonight we enjoy the ambience. Los.
Wir haben auf jeden Fall Besuch bekommen vorhin und die Leute haben sich auf jeden Fall nicht so angestellt wie wir mit ihren Autos. Die sind einfach hier hingefahren, trotz dieser Schotterpiste. Und jetzt unterhalten die sich gerade ganz laut. Das sind wahrscheinlich Leute von hier und Sascha meinte, die reden über Schweine.
Aha.
Vielleicht können wir die auch einfach mal fragen, was hier passiert ist, ob es hier wirklich einen Erdrutsch gab.
Sash knows the language, so Marco and her are going to talk to the locals to learn more about this place, while I'm staying back to take down the tent and hide our camping equipment, just in case these lads are rangers after all. In the meantime, here's some of the background info we could already collect. This mining town was built in the 1860s, and at one point it was home to 900 miners from all over the island. This photo shows the place in the early 1900s. Since ancient times, Sardinia's underground was known for its lead and silver deposits. Romans started mining the island to have supplies for construction, or they used the silver for minting their coins. But these natural resources are limited, so mining is always just a temporary process, even here. Over time, veins were drying out, and digging for new deposits became more and more costly and less fertile. This was at the beginning of the 20th century, when international competition lowered the price of silver. Due to economic losses, the mining company closed its operation in 1935. There was no work anymore, and they were in the middle of nowhere, so the former mining center of the region then quickly became a ghost town. Only empty houses were left behind. What remains today is just ruins. But seriously, what happened here after that? That's not just natural decay. These buildings were swallowed by mining waste. Like a lot of mining waste. Let's find out. Sasha and Marco approach one of the locals.
Tutto le case non ci sono più, che è sciuso, pieno di pietre.
Di offre molto e di buttare un po'. Poi l'hanno lasciata abbandonare.
Also es hat ganz viel geregnet und dann hat es diese ganzen Steine runtergespült. Und das war vor 3 Jahren ist das passiert, dass das dann alles weggespült hat. Und davor war das wohl weniger, es gab davor schon mal so einen kleinen Rutsch halt durchs Wasser, aber vor 3 Jahren war es halt nochmal richtig krass.
Anche le case giù, ma quest'acqua ha fatto un po' lì nel piazzale proprio.
Là?
Qui c'era un peso. Là.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
Der Mann, mit dem wir gerade gesprochen haben, das war ein Jäger. Und der hat gesagt, dass die hier früher immer jagen waren, also noch vor 10 Jahren oder so. Und sozusagen danach immer hier in diesem Haus, was man hier sieht, immer danach, da war anscheinend noch alles gut erhalten und haben die da drin mit einer Olivenpresse sozusagen dann Öl gepresst und hatten dann einen richtig schönen Tag. Und jetzt ist halt alles total zerfallen. Es muss in den letzten 6, 7 Jahren total rapide dann passiert sein. Er hat auf jeden Fall gesagt, hier oben, da wo man da oben diese Ruine sieht, dort geht auch ein Tunneleingang rein. Und der geht einmal komplett durch den Berg hier durch, den man hier sieht. Und er meinte, dass halt früher hier irgendwie fast ganz Sardinien natürlich, hat er gesagt, gearbeitet hat. Und dass hier auch total, sag ich mal, wie Streit darum gab, wer halt arbeiten konnte, weil hier in Italien ist ja Mitarbeiten ein bisschen schwierig.
Ja.
Und da haben die anscheinend, hat er gesagt, in diesen Tunneln haben die teilweise Leute erstickt, neben dem Feuer davor gemacht haben, um halt an Arbeit zu kommen.
Heck, that's awful. People were killing their competition to dig for silver themselves. After the mining company left, this became a no man's land. In the following years, bandits, adventurers, or just desperate people came to try their luck in the abandoned tunnels. The miners before them left behind a massive underground system that stretches 18 kilometers on a dozen floors. These tunnels go 500 meters below ground level, and indeed, some lucky ones found chunks of silver, while others paid with their lives. Soon, these events faded. There was nothing more to get, so people turned their backs on the old mining sites and abandoned the area for good. Well, until the next rush, many decades later, as we were soon to find out, told by an old Sardinian woman.
La galleria che allora il posto più bello venite, ma sono discese da lì da quelle montagne.
Ah, sì.
We met her by accident. She's from a village nearby and loves to hike around these ruins.
Restaurate queste case.
Now she's showing us around. Or at least that's what we think she does. Sasha barely understands her.
Lei è 600, 700, 800 e 900. Nel 1900 hanno mollato tutto. Sì.
Also ja, 1900 haben sie halt wieder
Però
alles
se
geschlossen.
queste case potrebbero stare.
Mal hier. Passt zu dieser ganzen Wasteful-Atmosphäre hier. Ist noch ziemlich gut erhalten, alle Zähne noch drin. That's where the old lady was leading us.
La galleria, quella dell'inizio in fondo tutto, arriva fin qui.
Ah, da geht das Lied von mir, Leute.
That's the hoisting shaft. It goes down 50 meters at least. Who knows how much of it is flooded?
Ok, va bene.
Arrivederci.
Arrivederci, grazie mille.
Grazie.
Adesso
We asked her a couple of questions before saying goodbye. She also had some interesting stories to share.
Die Frau von gerade eben hat man ganz schwer verstanden. Die hat so einen sardischen Akzent gehabt und noch dazu war sie halt schon ziemlich alt. Das heißt, sie hat ganz viel genuschelt. Aber sie hat auf jeden Fall erzählt, dass es, nachdem es hier diesen Erdrutsch gab, also vor 3 Jahren, nochmal so einen richtigen Anlauf von halt Leuten gab, die unbedingt hier nochmal ihr Glück versuchen wollten. Und sie hat gesagt, sie hat selber so ein Stück
Silber war das,
gefunden.
oder?
Ja.
Ja.
Und sie meint, das war ganz schön krass, wie hier, es wurde ja anscheinend alles überrannt von Leuten, die halt auf der Suche nach Silber waren.
what was once taken by human hand and owned for over a century, belongs now to flora and fauna again. In the absence of man, nature thrives. We are deeply impressed by the richness of species and life forms we come across by exploring the old mining town. Ich habe gerade meine Kamera ein paar Minuten liegen lassen, wollte die wiederholen. Da sitzt der kleine Freund hier drauf. Moment, da ist er. Das ist eine Stabheuschrecke. Das sind Tiere, die tarnen sich als kleine Zweige und Ästchen. Das ist total abgefahren und ich finde es immer wieder cool, wie sich so Flora und Fauna ändern in Europa, wenn man nur ein paar hundert oder 1000 Kilometer von zu Hause weg ist. Was ist das bitte für ein abgefahrenes Tier? Today only ruins are left, so it's hard to imagine, but this used to be a very modern town back in the day. They had power, a telephone line, a hospital, several workshops and so on. Given that this place was built in the mid-1800s, all of this can be seen as a real luxury. From that time, only the foundation walls remain today. The structures still standing are in critical condition and close to collapse. There are a couple dozen buildings stretched over several hundred meters in these mountains, and only one of them has stood the test of time so far. It's the old villa of the mining director. But here too, time left its marks, and still you can get a glimpse of a bygone era. These ornamental paintings have a curious story. During World War I, a group of Austrian prisoners of war was brought to the mining town. One of them was a painter in his civilian life. During the term of imprisonment, he then decorated the technical offices with painted frescoes. Despite years of exposure to the elements, the art still retains its vibrant colors to this day. Schick.
Da werden überall Stacheln dran.
Das sieht so schön aus und dann ist es so gemein. Today, only the 2 upper floors are accessible anymore. Und das hier unten war das Erdgeschoss. So, einfach meine Eingangstür. Das sind jetzt vielleicht noch 30-40 Zentimeter. Here you can get a good impression of how much debris and water were flushing down the valley. Ironically enough, the mining village got swallowed by its own waste. There were landfills all around it, where they put the mining waste from the underground tunnels. To prevent flooding, they had a smart system of small dams and drainage tunnels. But after decades of neglect and natural deterioration, they just collapsed in heavy rain. And all the waste was flushed down to the buildings. As the locals told us, this only happened in recent years. To get an even better impression of the damage, we searched for some older pictures of this place online, to compare them to today's situation. Here's what we found. The before photos were taken by a Sardinian explorer in 2013. Our images show the place 8 years later. There was even grass back then. We provided the link to the website of the Sardinian explorer in our video description if you want to see more photos from before the landslide. Surrounded by the mountain's peaceful silence, this mining village disappears more and more each year. At one point, people from all over the island came here to search for prosperity. And yet today, barely any Sardinians know this site anymore. Only the locals remember. On our trip to the hinterland, we just explored parts of the ghost town. There are many more structures hidden in the hills, together with the old mining tunnels. Luckily, we met these locals who showed us around and shared stories about this place you would never find on the internet. And yet, this is just one of the many remote areas of the island. We wonder what other secret locations we would discover if we just search for them. For now, we leave the south behind us. We're heading to the north of Sardinia, where we want to set up our camp at another history-charged location that faded into obscurity. It is a site that has been on our bucket list for years. This place has been a well-kept secret for most of its existence. But now it's finally time to reveal its story. But that is something for the next episode. Okay, 1% of batteries left. Yeah, perfect. Because that's actually how our trip started. In the last video, we told you that we're going to the Balkan states. And then we're going with my Lada Niva, which has a very good talent in breaking down when you don't need it at all. And that's exactly what happened. We went like 10 kilometers and then the engine started overheating. So there was no way we can repair that in time. So we took another car, got our roof tent on top, but it's no four-wheel drive, so it's not made for this country actually. We will focus ourselves on Bosnia-Herzegovina, Montenegro and Croatia. That's where we are actually right now. And we are gonna explore some places here in the next days and then move on to Bosnia. Still 3.5 weeks left, so let's see what we can make out of it. It was impressive how many different life forms we stumbled across in this ghost town. Did you see any flora or fauna that was new to you? Anyway, at the moment we're working at full stretch on our website bwturbex.com. Hopefully we can tell you more about this big update in our next upload. Stay curious and keep exploring.